Hey, it's really amazing to have you guys here. My name is Daniel, I'm a professional opera singer. I've performed nationally and internationally. And a side note on that, I'm going to be creating a poll today, if I can figure it out on YouTube, of if you guys would rather prefer a live stream or a video format of where I just talk about my past, what qualifies me to talk about these videos in depth and the analysis that I'm giving, and gives us the opportunity to get to know each other, to talk about psychology, sociology, philosophy, and ultimately just really enjoying the vibes and spreading around good music and good ideas and etc. So just let me know. With that said, tonight we're going to be listening to Geoff Castellucci's I See Fire from The Hobbit. I'm super stoked about this, honestly. I love fantasy stuff. I love deep voices. I love Geoff. And I know his production is going to be wonderful. I have heard nothing about this song, so I'm just really excited to jump into it. So if you are too, let's do it.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain
below.
Keep careful watch of my brother's souls. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over during the sun.
Wow!
If this is to end in fire, then we should all burn together. Watch the flames climb high.
Oh my gosh.
Into the night.
Oh.
Calling out, Father.
It's so smooth.
Stand by and we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside high.
And if we should die tonight, then we should all die together. Raise a glass of wine.
Oh my gosh, dude.
For us,
Yeah.
calling out, Father, oh, prepare as we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire.
Woo.
Burning the trees. I see fire.
Oh!
Hollowing souls. I see fire. The blood in the breeze. And I hope that you remember me.
Yeah, what a... Oh, it's so smooth. It's so smooth.
Oh, should my people fall, then surely I will do the same. Confined in mountain halls,
Yeah.
got too close to the flame. Calling out, Father, oh, hold fast and we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Yeah.
Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire.
All those unisons.
Souls, I see fire and blood in the breeze.
Yeah.
I hope that you remember me. I hope that you
Beautiful echo.
night is burning, I will cover my eyes. For if the dark returns,
Oh, chills!
I see fire and blood in the breeze, and I hope that you remember me. And I hope that you remember.
And I hope that you remember.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, wow, wow. First, the arrangement, beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. I love how smooth he can make his lowest registers just blossom. It doesn't sound like a vocal fry, even in times where it could be perceived as that, but no, it's just him beautifully vocalizing these notes in this really soft and smoothly transitionable way, and the cadences just flow one after another, even if two cadences next to each other are just both within the same extremely deep register. They're just flowing. It doesn't feel really choppy. It doesn't feel like he's struggling to hit these notes. His voice is simply resting on them. And I love this. I love this vibe, this energy. The energy in the music speaks for itself. It's just such a great vibe. Something else that I really like too is just the sound effects. It's not even things within the arrangement itself, but just that cranking sound, those chain sounds, those thuds, it just adds so much ambiance and texture to the piece. Love that so much. And the costuming, obviously, it's taken from the Misty Mountains as the sequel, I guess. But man, what an incredible arrangement and piece and performance just all together. I absolutely loved it. And I'm really excited just to get into the analysis just so I can hear it again, honestly. So let's do it.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain.
Just starting right there. You just hear this gentle wind in the background. Great atmospheric effect. And then all of a sudden, Geoff knows what he's doing. You just hear this really beautiful, powerful, robust voice just immediately hitting it off right off the bat. Just this, oh, and it just comes through so flawlessly. Oh, chef's kiss. So many chef's kisses. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
We're doing that again.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below.
And I like how he just holds mountain. Yeah.
Keep careful watch of my brother's souls.
Yeah, and on souls, just a very gentle S at the end. And what he's doing right here is a lot of great classical technique of just really putting the consonants at the very, very tail end of the note without being late or without extending the note longer than it can be held in the meter. He's just hitting those consonants very softly, transitioning from word to word, but it's still very connected. I love that.
And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke,
Nice breath placement.
keep watching over during sun.
I love how he uses that R, that really guttural consonant, and drives the knife into it to really sink into that bass note. Oh, it's so visceral. I love it. I'm gonna listen to that again.
During sun.
Yeah.
If this is to end in fire, then we should all burn together. Watch the flame.
I just love that whisper or that taper in his low register. Just together. Oh yeah, chills.
Flames climb high into the night.
Oh, it's so sultry.
Stand by and we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Oh my god, dude.
And if we should die tonight, then we should
Oh,
all
yeah.
die together.
I love his voice in this
With a
range too.
glass of wine.
It's just as smooth as his bass register.
Calling out, Father, oh, prepare as we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Desolation comes upon the sky.
And I love how each of the different voices are all fitting the dynamic. Usually in pieces, you're going to have a nice big range of dynamic, or if you're keeping a specific range of dynamic, then you really have to amplify the intensity of what's being sung. Because there's no contrast in the volume level, there needs to be a contrast somewhere. So it's either going to be in the emotion of the piece, where it starts really gentle and becomes progressively much more emotional, or it starts really emotional and it comes to a resolution. But in this case, the emotion of it is pretty consistent, at least 2 minutes into the piece. And the dynamic is also pretty consistent too, even though it's very gently raised in dynamic, probably from piano to mezzo piano. But it's still, you're just still so drawn in just because it's an entire aesthetic that you can connect to. His warm voice is just, it's like sitting around a campfire. It's not like the fire's going to grow bigger if you don't add anything to it. You're just there, embracing its warmth and enjoying what's there in front of you, which is this flame surrounded by the night sky, beautiful stars, beautiful moon, gently cloudy, a nice cool mist, just being completely enveloped by these warm flames of his voice. It's actually extremely majestic.
Now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the tree.
Yeah, and I like the way he says fire. It's more of an open I see. It's not fire. And the y, it's a y. Not a yer, but a y. It's so gentle. The way he's phrasing, especially these more guttural sounds like R's, G's, etc. It's just coming across so smoothly. And these are very specific musical choices that add to the environment of the piece, that add to the aesthetic and the tone of the piece. And that's critical when you're getting people into your world through your voice. Really amazing stuff, Geoff. And these unisons, I already commented on unison in a past video, but for those that didn't see it, unisons are extremely difficult to master. And the fact that he's doing it with himself is hilarious, but even doing it with yourself, doing perfect unisons are so difficult because you can have quarter tone differences, or even less than quarter tone, eighth tone differences. So even if you have those slightest differences in your voice, that can cause people who have trained ears, or even people who don't have trained ears, to hear just something very minorly askew, something that you can tell is just slightly off. But when a perfect unison comes through and every voice that's singing together sings right in the center of the pitch on the exact vowel that everybody else is singing on, all of a sudden this majesty happens. This audible wonder happens, and it's just, it's breathtaking.
In souls I see fire, the blood in the breeze, and I hope that you remember me.
I will say that sounded a little, it didn't sound as supported as it could have been, so it wasn't audible, but I'm going to listen to it again just to make sure.
I see fire, the blood in the breeze, and I hope that you remember.
Yeah, just that sink into his lowest register. It didn't come through all the way, but I'm not going to be picky about that. Everything was just so beautiful, and even the fact that it went down to that level just to begin with, I really loved the choice, and to know what the intention was, it still gives me chills, so I really appreciate it regardless. I like that grow. Just that. Yeah.
Oh, should my people fall, then Surely I would do the same. Confined in mountain halls, we got too close to the flame.
And I love their hums here. They're just really open in comparison to a hum like it's very broad, very robust. It keeps the tone of the piece still in that warm envelopment of his voice, the flame, the bonfire metaphor. And it's so great. Even with the addition of the piano picking up a little bit more in this section, you can still feel this Geoff energy, for lack of a better phrase.
Calling out, Father, oh, hold fast and we will.
For a bass vocalist to be so light in his upper register of his chest voice is incredible talent. Typically, the deeper the voice, the more grounded it is, the more difficult it is for them to be really light and transition from note to note quickly. I remember when I was in university, I had to do a piece where there were just these incredibly long cadences of really floaty notes that my teacher wanted me to learn. And she knew that it was a weakness of mine because my voice is very slow. When I sing, I create this really powerfully emotional atmosphere where the music I sing is usually pretty lento, pretty slow, and just creates this really dark energy. And she wanted me to sing something very bright, very light, very whimsical in that way, so I can develop my voice in more broad fashions, let's say. And man, it was so difficult to master that piece. I eventually was able to do it and did it. It's so difficult being able to do that as a bass vocalist. So the fact that it just feels so effortless from him, the sign of a great musician. Something that is very difficult to do but appears effortless is what you always want to do as a musician, as an artist.
Watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the
Yeah.
mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire hollow in souls. I see fire. That you remember me.
Love these echoes. And I love how they're all breathing together. In music, when typically it's always okay to breathe at the end of a musical phrase, at the end of a cadence. But if you're particularly about to hit a particular run or some kind of deeply powerful word within the phrase that requires a lot of vocal stamina, breath, energy, then to find an area to breathe to really accentuate that is always preferred with quick breaths. So to have every single one of them breathing together, even though they're singing different lines, and to really just create this atmosphere of unison mixed with their harmonies, it's really just incredible.
Guys falling down and crashed into this lonely town, and with that shadow upon the ground, I hear my people screaming out. Now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see hollow in souls. I see fire and blood in the breeze. And I hope that you remember me. And I hope that you remember.
And I hope that you remember.
That was just amazing. Dude, that was... the entire energy of that piece, incredible. Just a consistent atmosphere of warmth and this energy that progressively became brighter. It started really dark, and the lighting in the video was very majestic, from the fiery reds to the lighter, cooler tones of that teal bluish green kind of aesthetic, and then just progressively getting warmer throughout the video until it becomes dark at the end. Like I was mentioning earlier, it's with that energy of, if you're not going to drastically play with the dynamics of the piece, which is done subtly throughout the piece, but if you're not going to play very obviously with dynamic, then you have to make up for it in a different area. And he did that with not just visual effects and with lighting and different tones like that, but in the inflections of his voice, and especially on key, really soft areas versus when the piano really kicks in and just this I see fire, and it just really comes through so well, and I really love that. Geoff, this video was just amazing and beautiful, and I really loved it. Really great work here. Really great work. And again, your costuming, your makeup, your arrangement, just phenomenal, and I can't wait to hear more stuff from you. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, a comment, a subscribe, if you want. And if you disliked it, go ahead and leave a dislike and let me know in the comments what you disliked about it. I read every comment, so even if I don't heart it or reply to it, know that I've read it and I will take it into consideration as I make future videos. I obviously not only want to make videos that make me happy, but obviously make my audience happy. I want to grow as much as I can, not just in terms of the channel, but as a person, learning from you guys, learning from your experiences, your interpretations, your own understanding of music. I definitely don't have all the answers. I don't claim to by any means, and I always love hearing other people's perspectives as to how they choose to engage with music, whether it's professionally or casually. So with all of that said, I deeply, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate all of you being here. It truly means a lot to me, and I can't wait to see all of you in the next video. Take care, everyone.